All right. All right. Good morning, traders. I hope everybody had a great Easter. Um, if you were waiting for the recording, my apologies. I had 6 college students here. 2 of them were my kids, and the rest were nieces and nephews, and it just anyways, I'll have that posted today. I'll post it with today's recording. Good morning, Michael. Good to see you. Good morning, Perry. Good morning, Graylin. Hope you had a wonderful Easter as well. I did. I'm not gonna lie, though. I overcooked the brisket. Yeah, I did. It was a little disappointing. A lot of chunks were dry. I have to reflect on my smoke on that one. It's all right. It's all right. Okay, welcome to the Market Watch Group weekly opening bell. Monday morning, market's opening in 12 minutes. We're here together having coffee. What more could you ask for? My name is Scott. I'll be your host. Let's dive in. Here are the disclaimers, as always. I sent an alert out this morning. If you didn't see it, check your email. Remember, they come out at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific Central, 7 a.m. Mountain, 6 a.m. Pacific. Take a look. Got it. Yes, sir. MSFT. Looking for the trigger to form. Also posted in Discord. Different disclaimers for the trade alerts than for the. We got to keep the lawyers happy. You guys know how it works. Today's agenda: opening futures and news. We'll review the economic calendar with what's happening this week. We'll talk about our posture. So if you didn't see Sunday, you'll get the quick recap and understand what we saw, what concerns there may be, what our ultimate score and mindset for. Oh, Graylin, thank you. I will send an in we just regularly send out the link with the instructions. I should probably just have it like a weekly cadence of that, or maybe every other week. I will send that today. What's the reason for the alert with ranges? Well, because potentially it could gap, right? So when something gaps, you have to decide, has it gapped too far? So the range is kind of saying it's valid as soon as it crosses this line. But in the off chance that it made a gapping move, so Stephen is asking, what's the reason for 2 ranges? Nope. Hold on. Let's bring this over here. Okay, let me blow this up a little bit. So the entry range is basically saying you've got, if it were to move more than $2, so if it opened at 424.50, I'd be like, that gap too far. I need to reevaluate. I'm not saying I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it like this. I'd have to reestablish, like, does that make sense? So it's kind of saying we're valid here, but and then for the stop range, that's more, everybody has a little different idea of how far they want their stop to be. I would actually say you could go tighter than that potentially. I'm just giving an initial range. So in this regard, if I'm looking at this 422.15 to 415, that's 7 in risk. 422.15 to 445, That's 22 and change in gain. That's where the R to R. And you can see I have stock max reward to risk ratio. The reason I say stock max, because I can actually improve the trade with options at times. I think this was an interesting spread trade here. This May 415, 420 bull call spread. If you remember, we actually talked about bull call spreads on Thursday. We will be having a working application session on bull call spreads tomorrow evening. So I thought, what the hell? I'm going to throw it out there. So Grayland says, so you're giving the choice to trade as a regular stock or as an option. I mean, honestly, and you can even see here my sample trade. You could buy the call and do well. You could buy the stock in this regard, right? Just pay for the stock and, you can risk 7 to make 22. And so if somebody was saying, I only want to risk $100, if you're risking 7 per share, you're only going to buy about 15 shares, which is probably good because 15 shares of a $400 stock, still pretty expensive. Still $6,000, right? So you pay 6, you're risking $100 to make $300. It's trading. Then you look at it and you say, hey, I might use some leverage here. That trade that I looked at there, approximate cost for that spread is $245. That means one contract is $245. Obviously, that's a lot easier to handle. If I can get into a trade for $245, even in a small account, I can get a couple of contracts. So what I want to give you is enough that you feel like this is the intention. So certainly I'm open to you guys telling me how well I hit the mark. The intention was to give you enough that you feel like I'm taking concepts we talk about in the group and illustrating how we would apply them in a trade setting, in a live environment with the types of stocks. And I mean, right, like without it being, I'm teaching still, not giving. And so what I've done is I've given enough that you get to decide how. I mean, I've given a good basis, and you can pick stock, you can pick long options, you can pick spreads. And hopefully this helps to really push you to where you feel like your trades and the way that you're building your trades are helpful. So I always, the danger of a alert service is that you become reliant. And I want to build these alerts in a way that it actually still promotes you developing your trading, not becoming reliant. So let me know if I hit the mark. We'll see, right? We'll work on it together. Let's get in. I've been yapping too much already. You guys know how it goes. Futures looked great. When I woke up and let the dog out, they looked great. Now they're like, okay. If you notice, they've pulled back. You can see one of the reasons I like this perspective on Yahoo is I like to see, like, did we start up here and drop down? Did we start high and stay high, start low? So you can see we started high, but they've pulled back. So right now the S&P futures are only up 0.1. Dow futures actually just went negative 0.01. I mean, it's marginally, but it's still. NASDAQ 0.17. Russell 0.32, crude oil 0.2. Oh, oil and materials, man. It went from like we flagged it and now we're like, let's keep an eye on it. Well, we have, and keeping an eye on it has shown us that it just keeps on moving. And so yeah. What else is happening? Q2 kicks off. Oh, I should have done an April Fool's joke today or something. That would have been fun. My bad. Happy April Fool's. What do we have to watch? We know. We'll look at that. What else is happening? Tech investors are betting on the Hail Mary of energy. Fusion reactor. Oh, fusion reactor. There was a big controversy. This is back in like, tell me if you remember this. Early 90s out of Utah. The cold fusion. There was a couple of professors, scientists at the University of Utah, my alma mater. I was just lived down the road from there. And they like faked that they had cold fusion, like basically, but I don't know. Is that what this is? Does anyone know? It just reminded me of that. Let's see. What else is happening? Nothing here. You can see easing inflation may finally help Biden's reelection odds. There's nothing here market moving. So let's go take a quick peek at the economic calendar. We know that today we have minor reports. They'll start coming out soon, but no expectations there. Good morning, Bob. Good to see you. Market opens here in a minute. What else? Tomorrow. So remember, it's all labor market. We have job openings on Tuesday. We were at 8.9 last time. They're expecting it to drop a little bit. Now, if you look at this is one that I would recommend you look into this one. It seems like a very minor report, but it actually has some good information. When I saw a chart of it, I was able to see back prior to the pandemic, right? Back in, let's say, 2019 bull market. What did it look like during that? And like how bad does it get? How good? Oh, speakers loud. That scared me. Market's open though. We know that. We're still very high, even compared to pre-pandemic. Like, I mean, it was like 4 million, 5 million. So there's still a significant number of unfilled jobs that people are looking to fill. Then on Wednesday, we have ADP private payrolls. Last time they came in at 140, they're expecting it to go up a little bit. And remember that anything around like 150 or above, 120 to 170, let's say, is a maintenance level, meaning we will keep what we have. If you're getting 170 plus, you're adding jobs. If you're getting less than 120, you're at risk of losing jobs. And so in the market. So there you go. Okay. What else? Thursday, jobless claims has been sitting at low twos. Where's our concern? 250. If we see 3 weeks in a row above that, then we're going to think, ooh, that's gonna roll down and eventually give us a negative month. We get a negative month, you can see things will start looking much different. We've been nowhere near that. In fact, last month, so that's Thursday. We have a lot of Fed speak, including, I forgot to mention this guy, Jer Bear is speaking on Wednesday. A bunch of Fed speak on Thursday. More Fed speak on Friday. Friday has non-farm payrolls. Last month, we had an unexpected surprise at 275. This time expecting 200. And that's still, like we said, that's growing. And you can see that means our unemployment rate, they're looking to tick down from 3.9 to 3.8. So the labor market still is great. That's always good for us to know. Let's do a quick Fed watch. Market opened 0.11 up. So looks okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the where are you? No expectation in May. Holding close to 2-1, between 1.5, 2-1 in June. That's what the market. Now, it's funny because sometimes I don't think it's probability as much as I think it's like desirability. How much do they want it? Clearly, we saw a lot of that develop and then have to adjust. We'll see if that's the same. When you look at our economic news, if you want to know when the next set of inflationary data comes, that's next week. So here on Wednesday of next week, CPI. Thursday has PPI. Uh, July is when we really start to see the odd shift. The other thing is, and what we'll be watching for with all of the Fed speak this week is there's been a couple of sub-chairmen slash regional presidents that have indicated 2 cuts instead of 3. So now there's a bit of a debate as to they're still looking to cut, but are they looking to do it 2 times or 3 times? And we'll see a little bit of that play out. A quick peek at our posture. What do we decide we are? I'm bullish, and I actually increased my bullishness. Long-term trend stayed the same. That's strong. It could consolidate. The market could drop 5%, and my long-term trend wouldn't change because that's all built into what a trend looks like, right? That might influence the short-term score. Now, the short-term score I left alone. There is a little bit of a concern that it's slowing down. That's a concern of slowing down, not a concern at all of reversing. Just like, is it slowing and I'm going to have to adjust my trend score down a little bit? But it hasn't shown enough that I did. It's still like, well, I mean, if we were to have a real strong week this week, and from a cyclical slash seasonal perspective, April is one of the strongest months. Does that mean it's always strongest? No, but it means it's strongest enough that it's established a pattern of it. And so we're certainly taking that into consideration. Okay. Volume, I increased it. I gave it an increase. We had, when you tossed out the tie days, and how you identify your tie days will influence it. So this is one where there could be some discrepancies. I threw out some red days that I said they weren't red enough for me to say, yeah, the sellers had that. Others might have counted them on a discretionary basis. That makes sense. Based on how I did it, my volume increased. We'll see how that continues. Everything else stayed the same. Major market, the NASDAQ continues to be strong. The Russell continues to be strong. The Dow continues to lag a little, which is very much set up into bullish formation. Sector rotation. Remember, that's one where we've had a little concern as we've seen this thing drop a little bit. 1.75, 0.5, where we had healthcare bowed out. We had consumer discretionary. bowed out. We have Staples. No, Staples looks fine. Well, we have Staples in discretionary in a weird little like, is all of a sudden Staples more bullish than discretionary in a bull market? That is unique. That's not what we would expect. Is it problematic? We don't think so, but certainly something that we just say, let's keep an eye on this. We don't love energy surging. We don't love material surging. Now, those aren't defensive surges. Those are inflationary surges. So we're not like, oh, in the short term, we're in a lot of trouble. We're like, okay, the longer that lasts, the more that's going to stress the market. It's going to put stress and friction in the market because of it. In the short term, what are we doing? We're trying to trade it if we can, but you'll notice that it's been strong. It's been hard to find opportunities. You had to catch it early and ride it. So, what screen am I on? I'm on my market posture. Is that not what's being shown? I hope that's what's being shown. Okay. Last thing is the VIX. VIX for me. So the bottom line with the sector rotation is it didn't improve. It stayed the same. It's at a 0.5. It's still bullish overall, but not extremely bullish. The VIX, still bullish. Where am I? I'm at a great place. 675. I'm at a great place. The market is still looks strong. Has it slowed down a little here from this trend? Yes, but not completely. If this were to surge this week, we could end up here. You can see we're now up 0.2. Let's take a look at our opening range. We had a little bit of a sell-off going into Thursday's close. I'm going to say Friday probably a few times, but you know what I mean. We opened. We're pushing a little bit. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's go through the watch list and let's see what's happening. Questions, comments, concerns about this market? Do you feel like, so what are the areas that we do like right now? We love financials. We love industrials. We love, well, okay, communication services we love, but Google we're being patient on. Meta is on my list for alerts and setups this week. Technology has ebbed, but it hasn't broke. And looks like with Microsoft starting and Apple hopefully starting to move, that's going to be helpful. And then we have energy and staples. Nope. Energy and materials. I keep saying staples. I'm actually open to staples. Walmart's considered staples. Costco's considered staples. I believe, and I like both of those. But no, materials and energy. Okay. We're now in our third candle. The market's range is trying to move upwards. So, okay, we'll see. Let's get back down here. Apple. Is Apple gonna go? It's trying. It had like this little like rev of its engine. And now it's waiting to see if it's gonna really start to go. Financials pulling back a little today. Not necessarily all of them. It looks like maybe a good amount are. So AIG. Okay, if this does pull back, there's a great trade window. I mean, honestly, I would say that trade window exists anywhere through here. This is going to continue moving up. So if we were to pull back, I mean, I would say, yeah, anything in here is fine. If it pulled back like this and then gave a turn and we got a little bit of a reset on our stochastics, that's a great setup. Absolutely. any financial that's looking like that. So what do? We be patient, wait for it. AMD, we actually put on it's funny because we put on a spread trade on AMD. And because it was a spread trade, you can survive. If this is if you're wondering about what a chart looks like where a spread trade would likely outperform buying an option, it's something like this where it's just been, we're like, hey, it looks like it might bounce off the 50. Never went right, but it also never went wrong. It just kind of sat on the 50 for almost 2 weeks. It's been sitting like that. And now it's starting to move. So, it's interesting how that one would have sustained more. I'll show that tomorrow night. Amazon, it's grinding. It's tough. If you like trading Amazon, it's probably hard right now. It really gave a little bit of a signal right here where it turned. And so you could be just sort of riding that signal still. That's one where buying options would be harder. Selling them would be better. AXP is still trying to basically move into this signal here. This is a flag and it's starting to turn. Boeing, still watching Boeing. Bank of America is kind of just, the financials are interesting today. They're kind of mixed. BLDR is one that we put on. It's not wrong, or excuse me, it's not right. It's not wrong yet. It's just kind of sitting in this waiting zone. There's a little bit of is this bridge incident in Baltimore going to impact industrials? We're kind of watching to see what the thought process is there and how that goes. So I think that might be, but you can see it's holding up. It's holding up. Got to be a little patient sometimes. So we'll see what happens with that. City continues to look strong. Caterpillar pausing a little bit. If you're in it, mildly concerned, but you're going to be patient. CMG. Okay, so CMG, I would actually be thinking, yes, I wouldn't mind if it filled this gap a little bit and came down here. We'll keep watching it, and it is expensive. Remember, that's what it's moving toward, is becoming less expensive. It's moving toward a 50-to-1 split in this summer. So this thing's going to be like a $55, $60 stock again soon, which could be very interesting in what it does psychologically. Even here, you can see this thing's gone from 1,800 to 30,000 just since October. It's amazing. What is my opinion of DJT? I think it's a bit of a meme stock. Because I don't know what exactly is supposed to drive it. If it's driven by the performance of the Truth Social, and apparently they have a news channel. Has anyone heard of that? That, my understanding is that thing is losing money very, very quickly. Yeah, well, you can see what you have. It gapped up, rallied to 79. It's all the way back to 59. It's down 8% today. For me, I would want to watch the dust settle and see what this looks like once it stabilizes. The options are pretty outrageous. If you look at this implied volatility, it's at, let's just go. Well, we'll look in a second here where we were, but most stocks you're going to find implied volatility between like 20, 40, maybe 25 to 60% for high. This thing is between 100 and 300% volatility. It's outrageous. Go look at the options. It's crazy. My understanding is Trump can't sell for 6 months. Is that right? Where were we? We were at burritos. So a lot could happen to that stock's price in 6 months. I can tell you that. Okay. ConocoPhillips. Nope. That's next. Capital One. Yeah, Capital One got a nice signal. If you caught it, good couple of days, pausing now. A lot of things in financials are pausing now. Now ConocoPhillips is maybe starting to pause a little bit. Costco, we were wondering if it could. If it holds the 50, I think that there's a potential trade here. I think it could catch a bounce off of this. So don't discount it just yet because it's meandering a little bit. Same thing with CrowdStrike. Those two actually look, quite similar in the way that they're moving. Delta, if you're in it, you're riding it. If not, you're watching it. Same thing with DHI. Actually, DHI, that was probably your signal. Yeah, I think you're a little behind on that. I didn't on DHI. Delta, sorry. It's like I'm reading it. Not Delta. This is the Dow. This is the diamonds. Dow's pulling back a little bit. Okay. And we've noticed, so if you remember, I said it's very hard. What we saw back here, where's my drawing tools? What we saw back here, we said that's very hard to sustain at the same time that the NASDAQ's doing the same thing, the Russell's doing the same thing. That's hard to sustain. Why? Because there's just not enough money. When you think about what it takes to move, we went from what, 340 to 380, 40 points. That's 10% in there. Plus, when you think about how much money it takes to move the 10 stocks that make up the size of those stocks, to move them 10%, that's a lot. It's going to come and then it's going to pause a little bit. Well, there's the pause, and it's not flowing out. It's just less flowing in. And then it's pausing a little bit more. And they're starting to decide, are we still wanting to be that bullish, or do we want to put money more into small caps? Do we want to put money more into technology? And so, yeah, I didn't think this would be sustainable. I'm not at all surprised to see it. I'm actually pleased to see the Dow starting to lag a little bit in order for the Russell and the NASDAQ to continue to lead. Ford, okay, it's trying. It tried to break out. It broke 13. Fastenal's on my list, and this was one that I was considering for an alert. And this actually is better. As this sets up, one of the things we're looking for is what type of a display of momentum would the buyers have to do to convince us, right? So if I see a doji, then the next day I'm probably going to have a line that comes through here that says, if we cross that line, game on, right? That's the trade. Triggers a stop down here and looks for a target somewhere up in here, right? This is the type of thing I'm looking for, is this. And it gonna gets triggered on alert day only if it crosses to the upside. So that's what we're looking to try to establish as the mechanism for the alerts. Not yet though. Not on Fastenal. Still setting up. Looks great. Earnings, don't forget, we're getting close. Earnings are very close on Fastenal. Middle of April. Financials. Financials kind of kicks the window open, the window for about 2 to 3 weeks, a vast majority of companies reporting. Bitcoin still kind of stalling. GE looks like GE's consolidating. We'll see how much that consolidation pulls back. Gold, my goodness, look at gold. Google, oh, so Google breaking out. I said I was waiting. It gapped up and then it just sort of meandered higher. And boom, it pops up here, new high, love it, but not trading it. Home Depot, I said, I'm not sure about Home Depot. Why? Because it's in a sector that's really starting to show struggles. Remember, consumer discretionary. So yeah, I'm certainly skeptical and suspicious of those types. IBM maybe still. Okay, so Intel for me is now viable. Meaning on the next consolidation, and I think it could get a little higher still. It could get all the way up and make the full like V, and I know it's not like a full V. It's kind of a slow downward, fast upward, which actually I think makes it stronger. But the trade doesn't exist until this happens, right? And I get that kind of this inverted shoulder, head, shoulder. When is that pattern complete? When it breaks out of the neckline? When do I want to get in? Here, so that if it breaks, I catch it. And when it gets up and tests here, I've already been in that trade the whole time. Right? So, yeah, I like Intel. Again, I'm willing to forgive and forget and move on. IWM today pausing, but still looking bullish. JP Morgan, a little bit of a pause here. So, like we said, it's mixed in financials today. Meta, ooh, so Meta is looking viable. The stochastics is pinching. This is another one that was on my list. It's actually surpassing yesterday's high. This is one that I would want to see maybe towards the end of the day, because at the end of the day, if it drops back down here, there's no signal. But if this holds up, that's something you might think about. I definitely like the way Meta looks. Morgan Stanley moving but pausing. Here's our candidate. There you go. And you can see that it did gap up. Right, gapped up and it opened at 423.95. So it opened in the range. So this looks viable. I would have loved to have caught it at 422. That's my preference, but sometimes things turn a little sooner. Okay, we'll see what happens. Netflix on the list. That's on my list for alerts. And that looks like it's really starting to show that these sellers are dissipating quickly. NVIDIA, also on my list. It's expensive. The vol is pretty inflated. It's 900, and it looks like it's trying to turn when it stalled on the last move, but it can move. The car looks like it's still trying to kind of get things started again. PLTR trying to hold the 50. Hughes looking bullish. Yeah, Microsoft is bullish today. Google is bullish today. Meta is bullish today. NVIDIA is bullish today. So yeah, not surprised. NASDAQ's up 0.75. Looks great. SMCI on my list up today. Where are we at now on the SPY? The SPY is now up 0.22, about where it was. TSM even, right? There's some bullishness going on in the tech. Interestingly, the VIX despite the fact that the markets are high, the VIX is high. If the market after this half an hour stays pretty strong, I would expect this to bleed off, but I guess we'll see what happens. Waste management still looks pretty good. Walmart's on the list. Walmart looks viable for a trade potentially soon. Real quick peek here, then we're gonna move on to the trading plan. Biotech is kind of sputtering. Materials hopefully is finding some resistance, and we see this damn thing pull back just a little bit. Communication services looks like it's getting ready to go. Google and Meta, so be ready here. Energy possibly pausing. We would love that. Financials trying to go, but it's a little bit paused today. Same with industrials. We'll see with those. Technology's trying to move. Staples is iffy. Utilities is iffy. Consumer discretionary also iffy. Healthcare is really starting to pull back, which is fine. I don't need healthcare. I thought it was interesting when healthcare participated. I'm like, wow, look at how bullish that is. But it just didn't. You can see it was quite a strong run here and then just kind of pausing this way. All right. So we have an alert. We have a number of stocks that are setting up. We have a bullish posture. This week we are working on record keeping. So you're not really doing much work here. You're now making sure that this is all set up for you. This is a great time. I'm gonna make a good faith effort to utilize a couple of enhancements that Stephen has developed for me on 2 different spreadsheets and distribute those. But bottom line, build a routine, a cadence of record keeping. Because if you get this part right, then you get this. And this has so much information for us to learn about ourselves and our trading. And it allows us to connect our learning to specific periods in market history. 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, etc. All right. Well, look at that, top of the hour, and I'm wrapping it up. It's good to see everybody. What's the schedule? Tomorrow night, we continue the second half of our options foundations. We still have debit spreads. We still have time spreads. We still have advanced spreads, condors. We still have option Greeks to cover in more detail. When you're done this time with the options foundations, I'm hoping you're like, okay, it's clicking. So tomorrow is debit spreads working session. Bob, right on time. How was my Easter dinner? Oh, Bob, you missed it. Yeah, I was a little, I'm not gonna, I let myself down. I overcooked. I don't know if I didn't get my thermometer set right, but I overcooked the brisket. It was like some parts were great, and it was mostly there was some dry parts where I'm just like, oh, so frustrated. I need to implement a multi thermometer system with a piece of meat that big. So everything my wife did was good though. The potatoes were good, the deviled eggs were good, carrot cake was good. The brisket was mediocre, which is not. I expect excellence from my smokes, and it was very disappointing. Sunday's recording will be posted. I apologize, Judy, and welcome. I'm glad to have you part of the group. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna I'll send 2 emails, one with yesterday's, one with today's. Yesterday's will have a invite, so you and Graylin can join Discord, because I'll post links there as well. You'll have a link to the YouTube. You can always go to the YouTube channel, Market Watch Group YouTube channel, and find things there as well. So I will send that out, Judy. And you know, feel free, like when you get on Discord, to ask for help. Hey, what do I need to do here? Or you can reach out to me and let me know ways that will help you onboard and get up to speed with the group. The emails that I'll send have the links for the group, has the content library with a lot of our video content where you can see it organized by topics. The trading, all the resources that you can download and have access to from the welcome doc, etc. All right, well, you guys, it's great to see you. I'm gonna go get my second cup of coffee. I will see you guys tomorrow evening for options. It should be a lot of fun. Keep an eye on this market, and as always, happy trading.